At approximately 12:50 a.m. on Monday, July 10th, 2017, Larry Peters of Mitchell died a tender and gentle death, just like he had hoped for. He did it so quietly, his friend Marlo and his wife Marigold, who stayed with him, almost missed it. He will be deeply missed by so many. First of all, his wife Marigold, Mitch, his life partner for almost 35 years, and then his immediate family, Francis, Abe, Wayne, and Justina.
Okay, I'm Lionel, Larry's brother. I'm not on the program, I'm just making a guest appearance here. This is Lori, my wife, and Chelsea, my daughter. Our daughter. Oh. Lori and myself, and with the help of our kids, put together a tribute to Larry on behalf of the family. It's a strange exercise to try to compact a lifetime of expression and memories into a few minutes, but we're going to try and capture him as best we can.
To his nieces and nephews, Larry was that favorite uncle who seemed to take time and interest in whatever it was we were interested in. He paid attention to us individually and made us feel special, whether it was taking an interest in our schooling, music, sports, or everyday life. He challenged us to live life to the fullest and pursue our own interests.
To his siblings, he was our passionate and sensitive brother who was the first to live abroad and also the first to go to Bible school there. This was still back in the good old days when letter writing was the main form of communication, so there was some mystique surrounding his experience so far away. It was in Switzerland that he developed his lifelong passion towards all things European. Larry loved photography and art, was an avid Montreal Canadiens fan, along with his brother, a voracious reader and hugely sentimental. Basically, Larry was passionate about whatever he got into. Larry was nothing if he was not an idealist. I remember many years ago tagging along with Larry during an entire summer. We went every single Saturday, I believe. We went in search of the perfect camera bag. Over the years, that quest turned into pursuing the finest camera lenses, the ideal job, perfect bread making, the yummiest coffee shop, that elusive restaurant with just the right ambience. I think you get the picture. And we never did find that camera bag, but in true Larry fashion, we enjoyed the journey of looking for it.
One thing that one could say that Larry was somewhat quirky. For example, I'd like to think we were not the only people that were the recipients of phone messages left by Larry before texting became a fashionable method of communication. We would come home to the answering machine like blinking, press play, and would hear Larry's voice rambling on and on about a variety of things before he would actually come to the point of what he called for. Sometimes we would hit replay so that we could just listen to it again, just for the fun of hearing Larry chatting away with his random comments. A word that well describes Larry is authentic. He naturally lived his life outside of cliches and formulas and doggedly pursued finding truth. He liked to keep it real. Real wood, real baking, real coffee, real feelings, and real relationships. Larry thrived on relationships with so very many people, whether within his family or with anyone he felt was in need of friendship. He had a gift of focusing on the person, and together with Mitch, opened up his home and his heart to many people who, for some reason or another, found themselves in need of someone who would listen and love them. Dishes were always left on the counter for after the company. People were the focus. So many people have mentioned Larry's mentorship in their lives and are filled with gratitude. Larry loved classical music and all things artsy. Siblings and nieces and nephews alike remember a breakfast or romantic evening meal with classical music playing in the background. Larry's love of eccentric pieces of art or unique items picked up somewhere along the way are scattered throughout the house. One thing you would not find in the house was a TV. Larry and Mitch felt that a TV was an intrusion into what could be enjoyed with actual people and experiences. Another testament to Canadian real. Now the Montreal Canadiens were mentioned, and from weekly Saturday nights in the early years at Wayne and Justina's, watching Hockey Night in Canada in color, and more recently, nights at Pete and Linda's or in our loft, Larry's passion for the game and the Canadiens never wavered. I picture him watching the game, always wearing his favorite pilled Canadian sweater, and having many an exchange with the TV screen, expounding on why the game is going in the wrong direction, and loudly cheering when they scored. As a matter of fact, Lionel and Larry flew to Montreal this March to take in a live game at the Forum. They were like kids in a candy shop, and a memory that we will cherish forever.
Another thing that was synonymous with Larry was Christmas. Larry loved Christmas, and Larry and Mitch generously hosted the annual Peter's Gathering at their church house for many years. This was never just a gathering. The tables were always set up in a very festive way, complete with tablecloths, candles, and placeholders for assigned seating. Of course, this was a joint effort between Larry and Mitch, but there was never any doubt that Larry had a huge hand in it. Our little family, and Larry and Mitch, had a tradition of celebrating Christmas together sometime during the month of December. So when one year, during a heat wave in August, when we went camping together, we were pleasantly surprised when Larry and Mitch suggested that Mom and Dad take us kids for a bit of a ride to cool off. We returned to a campsite decorated with streamers in the trees, a turkey dinner complete with all the fixings on the picnic table, and a large Christmas gift bag sitting on the fire pit grate. They had bought us a bocce set and wanted to give it to us in summer when we could actually use it. That was so very fun and so typical of Larry and Mitch to think outside of the box and celebrate in their own way. Our more traditional Christmases were held in winter time and would always include watching the cult classic A Christmas Story. We even took in the MTC production one year, and the subsequent year we dressed up as our favorite characters for the evening. We would spend the remainder of the year dropping quotes and lines from the movie whenever the moment seemed quite right. Dad and Larry also had an annual Christmas shopping day every December. I'm not sure what was more important, the days spent together doing coffee amidst Christmas decorations and music and looking for the perfect gifts for Mom and Mitch, or actually buying them. This tradition was so important to them that this past December, Dad checked Larry out of the HSC after his liver surgery and took him on one last shopping trip.
It would not be complete without talking about Larry and his love of baking. Larry tried a variety of ventures in his life, as Mitch already mentioned, or Glenda. Everything from refinishing golf clubs, remember that? And furniture, a raspberry plantation, dried flowers, furniture building, holding down a 9-to-5 job as a custodian, and finally ended up with a true love. As is typical, he enrolled in a bread baking school in San Francisco before starting up and became a dough connoisseur. He thrived with trying different breads and desserts to sell in his bakery, and loved critiquing baking whether he made it or not. The love of food and its presentation was very important to him, and he loved celebrating it. During the last month of Larry's life, Joey, our son, was working on his garden beds at Larry and Mitch's place when he noticed the garage door of their house opening up and saw Larry backing his SUV out of the driveway and slowly driving the 100 yards towards where he was working. Larry slowly took out a full spread of breads and cheeses and other goodies and asked Joe to fold down the back of his truck so they could have a picnic together. After a good lunch and conversation, Larry decided he was very tired. So he packed up the vehicle and drove the 100 yards back to the garage for an afternoon nap. This is a small example of the determination Larry showed in choosing to live despite his many limitations. He must have suffered much more than we ever knew. He soldiered on, choosing to enjoy life in as many ways and as long as he could. Larry was a man who held his beliefs with strong and quiet conviction. He never force-fed you his views, yet there was never any doubt in your mind that Larry was a man deeply devoted to living out his faith in his Maker. To hear Larry's table prayers was like eavesdropping in on an intimate conversation between Larry and his God. We will miss hearing those tender, honest moments, and if any of you have sat at that table, and I'm sure many of you have, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Wayne put it well when he said Larry lived his life in such a way that he didn't have to do his homework on his deathbed. We will all miss Larry's quirky ways, his fabulous sense of humor, and wonder at the world around him. Larry has left a legacy of love and acceptance that has touched us all in one way or another, and he lives on in more ways than we can measure. We would like to end with a quote of Larry's in the last week of his life here on earth, when he said, "If somehow the ship gets turned around, then all I will do is love people."
Hello, my name is Titania, although I don't think Larry ever called me that, so for today, Tanaya it is. I lived at Rosedale House with Larry and Mitch on 3 separate occasions, and for a combined total of about 2.5 years. I was very fortunate to have such wise and caring people enter my life at that time, and I'm forever grateful to them both for all of the goodness that they have shared with me, and for enriching my life in more ways than I can count. I am honored to remember Larry with you today. I met Larry when I was 17, world-weary and angry. We had a hard time getting to know each other, but I think we also decided almost from the word go to attach ourselves to each other and to allow the other to carve a mark on our heart. We used to sit at the kitchen table talking about life and love and faith and courage and anguish. He told me I had to feel my anger. He told me it was valuable. I would sit upstairs and write poetry about the beauty around us and the things that make us human and the things that make me angry, and he would read them and say, "You're a writer." Larry was a writer. He would hate hearing me say that. I don't think I'd known him for very long when I first told him he was a poet. He argued with me and he told me that that was impossible. He didn't write things down. C.S. Lewis was a writer, he said. Carol Shields is a writer. Paul Simon, Friedrich Buechner, Joni Mitchell, she's a writer. They write things down. I happen to know it wasn't true, by the way. He did write things down. He copied phrases out of books he was reading and pinned them to the wall beside the breakfast table. He caught himself using a collection of words that articulated his point perfectly, and he jotted them on scraps of paper. He wrote me notes and left them on the stairs. His words were always thoughtful. He recognized the poetry in the things that he read. I told him it wouldn't matter if he never wrote anything down. Poetry lived inside of him. He couldn't help it. He spoke poetry. Larry was a romantic. He loved to wax eloquent about, well, everything. When he and Mitch came back from their trip from Europe, he exclaimed, "Tanaya, the bakeries, they have the bread, they have the baguette, and it's just so totally French, right?" Or when speaking of his days in school, he talked about how the Swiss girls wouldn't wash their hair all week, so every Saturday each one of them had the most beautiful, shiny hair you could imagine. When friendships or partnerships broke down, Larry sadly called it a failure of love. When he used this phrase about me, I assumed he meant that I had failed at love. But that's not what he meant. He just found it heartbreaking when love couldn't be the answer to a problem. Larry loved to create. Most of us have eaten his bread, and we can attest to the fact that this passion to create paid off. He was constantly creating beauty to surround himself with. Together with Mitch, he remodeled a church into a house. Mitch told me there was a serious doubt about getting the cross back up on the belfry once the church had been moved. But Larry was insistent. It had to go up. It was required. The house would be incomplete without it. I also remember coming home one day and finding a huge pile of bricks in the front yard. He was going to make them into a walkway surrounding the front garden. They were repurposed from an old building that was torn down. He told me exactly where they came from, looked into my face and said, "I'm going to give them new life tonight." And he did, and it was beautiful. For Sunday breakfast, he would arrange fruit on a plate and waltz into the dining room waving one arm and exclaim, "Look at it! It's a sunburst. It's fruit as light and color." I rolled my eyes and told him he'd cut away too much of the fruit. He was robbing us of nutrients. He said if he cut off less, it wouldn't be as sweet, it wouldn't be as vibrant. I was missing the point. When I was 18 or 19, tired of hearing it, and in an exercise that was, I believe, illogically intended to somehow shut me up on the topic, Larry wrote me a poem. He worked on it and typed it up and mounted it in secret, and he presented it to me with a sort of defiance and satisfaction, I think. It was a poem about how we met, and I'd like to share it with you. It's called Writing Paper. One day I wake to find a sheet of paper. I take a closer look. No ordinary paper this. Against the morning light I see the sacred watermark. My breath catches in my throat. I pray. But I am not a writer. I feel my words immortalized on paper. And anyway, what would I write? What has been written before me? Surely this one page of many, a book of days and faces that have been. Who walked across the pages? What bloody battles have been waged? What was lost or gained? What perfect dreams were born here? And what dark fears whispered? Compromise? Who hid the secrets in this?
One of Larry's favorite authors was Frederick Buechner. I think he would love to know that at least a short passage of Buechner's writings be quoted as part of his tribute. Buechner creates rather lengthy sentences, so it was difficult to find a short passage. Closer, like this? But I've chosen to read the last paragraph of his book titled The Sacred Journey. Faith, hope, love. Those are their names, of course, those three. As words so worn out, but as realities so rich. Our going away presents from beyond time to carry with us through time, to lighten our step as we go. And part, at least, of the wisdom of the third one is, and that was love, as Rinky-Tink heard it, never question the truth of what you fail to understand, for the world is filled with wonders, end quote. Above all, never question the truth beyond all understanding and surpassing all other wonders, that in the long run, nothing, not even the world, not even ourselves, can separate us forever from that last and deepest love that glimmers in our dusk like a pearl, like a face. Online research on sourdough brought the following paragraph up on the screen, striking an immediate chord and reading as follows. The starter, or mother, is nurtured by its creator, fed and watered at precise times, kept at optimum temperatures, and never left to die. Portions are gently removed to create mouth-watering sourdough goods, and then replenished in the same delicate manner. Mitch thinks Larry mixed his starter sometime in 2009, and it is that starter which Old Church Bakery uses to bake its bread to this day. The bread being served later this evening, lovingly baked by Julie, serves as a profound connection to Larry which touches the heart in a unique and extraordinarily special way. In the same way Larry tended his starter, he lovingly nurtured his relationships. Most importantly, the friendship he had with Mitch. A friendship which proved to be strong and true over the years, and particularly in the last few, as his health declined, requiring multiple hospitalizations, procedures, and surgeries. He soldiered through those difficult times, never complaining, and most often answered good when asked how he was. His stoicism, courage, fortitude, and indomitable spirit were marvelous to witness, but heartbreakingly painful. Over the last 5 years particularly, I became more involved in Larry's medical adventures. This gave him and me the opportunity to develop a unique friendship where respect and love were given the highest honor. I spent many hours with him during his last week in hospital, where he continued to surprise us with his sense of humor, all the while displaying outstanding courage as he faced his death. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mitch and the rest of the Peters family for oftentimes entrusting Larry's care to me. It has been an honor of the highest order. There too, Larry has played a large part in nurturing and fostering new friendships. Thursday, July 6th, I sat quietly at his bedside. There were many occasions when looking at him, I thought his last breath imminent, only for him to stir from sleep, and on one occasion ask if I liked going to the folk festival. He most certainly demanded a high degree of emotional and spiritual agility from his loved ones as he progressed through his final days. In the last few months, Larry requested that a core group of friends gather for breakfast every Sunday morning. That group included Mitch, of course, Marlo and Judy Heinrichs, Janet Blatz and Hans Friesen, his sister Marianne, and me. These breakfasts were a very special time for all of us. Many tears were shed when on occasion Larry would gently coerce us to grieve with him as he struggled with the reality of leaving his loved ones. As with his sourdough starter, he spiritually and emotionally provided food and water for our friendships to strengthen and deepen. Those Sunday breakfasts profoundly affected us all. Part of our breakfast ritual included licorice, namely Venko brand school chalk, as it is called. This licorice had been recommended to Mitch by Kathy at Maine Bread and Butter. As Larry's taste buds betrayed him, the foods and coffee in particular he had previously loved, disappointingly no longer tasted good to him. This licorice, however, worked perfectly and was always on hand. It became a regular item on our breakfast menu. On Sunday, July 2, the day before Larry went into hospital as I drove to their house, I heard a magnificent piece of music by Jean Richefort titled Requiem in Memoriam Josquin des Prés. When I walked into the house, I commented to Larry that I had been listening to particularly beautiful music on 107, and he said he'd been listening to it too. All those beautiful retrospective moments. Today, in honor of the exceptional man that Larry was and the legacy he has left, we are going to share this licorice with you. As this music plays, Larry's group of 6 will be passing out the licorice. While you listen, take this moment to reflect on the man that Larry was. Not perfect, but an amazingly tender man and a baker of excellent bread. Please hold on to your piece of licorice until everyone has been served. At that time, the 6 of us will proceed to the front to honor Larry as a group. And I thought I had bought approximately 500 pieces, and I don't think we'll have enough for everyone. So the rest of you, I guess, will just have to pretend.